Hey guys, remember to like the video and hit subscribe. But okay, number one. Number two, yeah, Americans have to change their concept of like public transportation as well. But it's so that they can get drunk. Oh, okay. My bad. Back in my day, we had a designation. It was called a designated driver, but I guess maybe those don't exist anymore. So instead of one guy carpooling and saving $500 in Uber charges, I guess everybody has to Uber. Gotcha. Based. All right. Nobody's sober in this economy. True. So Destiny, really think we didn't lose acquisition power? I think it suffered a little bit, but not anywhere near as substantially as we have. You know what the worst part is? I think to some extent, I think the tariffs and all that shit, I think maybe it will help a little. Who knows? I think the problem is that you guys don't have any concept of like lifestyle improvements or like actual like standard of living improvements at all. It's just this like weird comparison towards this like hyperfixation of retarded shit in the past, and then like screaming at other people online, and you think your lives are fucked and miserable and horrible and terrible. And for a lot of them they are, but it's not because of the fact that you can't like buy a house when you're 24. I think it has more to do with other loss of meaning and purpose. But don't worry, when we return to the factories, guys, I'll be there on the floor right next to you, okay? We'll find meaning again in our lives. It'll be based. Also, if you want to argue with me here, if you wrote the thing I wrote for the subreddit weekly pragmatic papers thing, here, I think we're doing this on Friday. Make sure to sign up and argue with me, because I ardently defend billionaires. Hey, clean coal. Wait, let me load my sign. What do you think will happen to the interest rates at the end of the year? I have no idea. It's going to depend on inflation and the job market. You can watch the Flagrant episode with Chamath. Oh, this guy's like a huge Trump fan now, right?
Hello,
The Flagrant dude. I feel like I saw dumb shit. Is he actually going to accurately explain? I feel like this, is it Chamath? I feel like I fought with this guy once on Twitter and initially he disagreed with me, but then he saw me be like pro-Israel and then he agreed with me. I don't know if that's a bad thing. I don't even know. I don't remember.
Hello, everybody.
Like I thought he was like a schizo conspiratorial random dude, but then I saw him talk about something else.
Stock market is nosediving faster than Conor McGregor at a Colombian cookout.
Chamath?
People are concerned, anxious, terrified. So we've asked someone to come on the podcast to calm your nerves, put you at ease. No, not her. We've asked our richest friend, Chamath Pineapple Porta Potty Platypus, the former owner of the Warriors, one of the earliest hires at Facebook, a legit billionaire, and the host of the biggest business podcast in the world, All In, if he would take some time away from surfing on the top of a train to explain why the stock market looks like Saxon Ratliff the morning after a sibling stroke-off. We're going to find out the real end game for Trump's tariffs, what happens if they don't work, and why we might already be in a recession. Indulge in this bonus Flagrant episode.
Why don't we just start at the tariffs in general? What exactly is Trump doing? What is best case scenario? What is worst case scenario? And then what are your personal thoughts?
Let's look at your Air Force Ones or your Dunks that you guys are wearing there, or your Converse.
Jordan.
Those things are made, or Jordans. Those things are made outside of the United States, even though the company that makes them is an American company. And what happens is they're made over there, and then they're shipped to the United States, and then they're sold to you guys somehow, right? And you would think that that's all fine and good because you're like, well, hold on, this is an American company, I'm supporting an American company. And it turns out that the details are a little bit more complicated than that. So starting in about the year 2000, what happened was there was this, everybody thought that the right thing to do was to push every country in the world to this form of capitalism. And they looked at countries like China and they were like, how do we make China more capitalist? And you would say, well, why would we do that? And the governing logic at the time was, if they're more capitalist, they'll also become more democratic. If they are more democratic, they're more predictable the way that we normally think about countries. So let's not repeat a Cold War. Let's not repeat maybe some other political regime in the 40s or 50s or 60s. And so what happened was we let China into the WTO, the World Trade Organization. And what that allowed corporations to do is basically an enormous form of arbitrage. So let's say that those Jordans were made in the United States and you were paying a worker $25 an hour to work on a line to make that shoe. And then you would send it to Foot Locker and sell it. I'm just being very simple just to kind of explain this example. But now, instead of having to pay sort of any typical form of taxes, Nike, after the year 2000, was able to ask the question, where else could I make this Jordan? And the Chinese raised their hand and they said, hey guys, we have these really great factories, we have extremely good workers, and we can do it for much cheaper than $25 an hour. And so what does Nike do? They send the job over there. Take that one narrow example and apply it across every industry you can imagine, from shoes to iPhones and everything in between. And what has essentially happened over the last 25 years is we have hollowed out an enormous part of the middle class economy in the United States. And we've explained it away by saying, hey, we don't want to do that kind of work. Instead, we're going to, like all of us, like we'll do a podcast or, somebody will be a consultant. Like you'll just go up the stack, right?
Wait, real quick. Can you put recyclers on Novice?
They'll say up the stack. And so over the last 25 years, that's been happening. And all of these other countries have benefited
Would you be willing to do a deep dive into climate change to see if we're actually pretty chill? No, I don't give a f about doing a deep dive into climate change. I believe that climate change is like a serious issue, but we are so far away. Climate change is like on the bottom of list of things that we can even remotely impact right now.
From America's largesse. And the reason you can say that is we are the big buyer of record for everything, right? We have the largest economy. The way our economy works is we are all buying all kinds of all manner of it, from that water bottle to that shirt to that hat. 80% of our economy is just consumers buying stuff. And the rest of the world makes an enormous amount of money by feeding that beast. And so you would say, okay, well, what's wrong with that? Now the cost of Jordans is much cheaper. The cost of that, those jeans are cheaper. Life is good. Except it's not, it's more complicated than that, which is then when we turn around and we try to sell our product into those same countries, instead of it being allowed to just come in so that, I'll make an example. Let's say that hat is made in the United States and we want to sell it to somebody in Cambodia or Vietnam. The same way that those dunks enter the United States with no tax, we would expect that that hat can go into Cambodia and Vietnam with no tax, but that turns out to not be the case.
And why is that? Are they trying to protect local businesses?
It's a great question. I think that for every country, the answer to that question is different, but it typically starts with how...
Okay, I'm sorry, like I get triggered. This is like an old person thing. I'm so sorry, I can't do this. Like, when standard of living stuff increases, you guys think that there are things that like are actually requirements to survive. Like you can't even fathom, like just reading this guy's comments about, he's mad that I say things wrong. I'm scrolling up my brain. He says, what do you mean? Uber drives you to go out, LOL. No one wants to be the sober one going out to party. You can't just group everyone into the dumbass category because we're pissed. Maybe the shit we complain about is justified, LOL. Like, you do know that people have lived for so long without Uber, right? Like my generation, we survived with no Uber. We found a way to do it. But like now that Uber is available, now you think that it's an actual requirement that every single week your friend group has to spend collectively $1,000 to go out drinking? That before you even factor in the cost of alcohol, that every person in your friend group has to pay an Uber to go, like that's, yeah, it's just, but like you assume that is like that's a bare minimum threshold. You wouldn't even consider that like a middle class thing. You think that's like every American should be entitled to be able to Uber every single weekend to go drink, or at any point, maybe not every single one, but you're like, this is like a new thing that everybody has to have. And it's like, Jesus, like, yeah, there are issues for sure, but my God, like people have survived with so many different things that you now have access to that you consider like fundamental requirements of your daily existence. And we managed to get along just fine without these, and you pay more money for them and everything now too. But then you also want like the house at the early age and no college and everything. It's like, Jesus, chill. They were way more lenient on DUIs for a long time, though. Only if you could outrun the cop, okay?
How can we generate revenue for ourselves? I don't think they have a competitive, New York Yankees hat manufacturer in Vietnam, for the record. But it's just a policy that allows them to make money off of the United States in two ways, right? They make money by making stuff there, sending it to here where we all buy it. And
that wasn't my point, but go off, King. This is literally what you're typing about. I think we have a misunderstanding. I'm not a Republican. I just don't like when Destiny says certain things aren't really that bad because I can see in real time what is it. How old are you? If you're 25, like, no offense, or it's not even offensive. Yeah, everything around you sucks. No shit. You're young. You have your health and your fun and your friends, but like you have no wealth. You have no assets. You've got a ton of debt from school. Like you're just getting your shit together. You're starting to get it. Yeah, no shit. When you're young, you don't have access to like a whole bunch of crazy shit in life yet. Everything is pretty rough. You're literally just starting out. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. What the fuck? What? And then guess what? Remember, I want you to engrave this in your mind right now. Engrave it into your mind. In 50 years, assuming Donald Trump doesn't blow us all up or World War III doesn't happen, in 50 years, you're going to be looking back on this time, remembering how great it was, and it was fun, and you had access, you could go out and work, and like you could do all these, you were healthy, you went out with your friends, and then you're going to be old with sitting on your wealth and your nest egg. You're like, oh, now it's, oh my God, like things were so much better back then. But everybody does this. People that were from the Soviet Union do this shit where they look back like, yeah, when I was younger, things were so much better. But yeah, when you're young and you're looking around, financially, everything around you is fucked. Of course, you're all children. Of course, everything's fucked. That's what it's like being in your teens or 20s.
Dollars go back. And then they make money in a different way, which is whenever we try to sell our products there, they can tax it on the way in.
And then why would we tolerate that?
I think what the logic was back to what I said earlier.
Also, don't confuse me. Like, there's nothing wrong with complaining about shit too. And you, like, I don't think that adolescence or young adulthood should be a hazing ritual where everything that the older generation suffered is now a thing that every younger generation suffered too. There are definitely ways that we can improve the world, and there are ways that we can improve things for younger people, and we should. You should fight for those improvements. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And if you think that housing is too expensive, it probably is. It's gotten more expensive for people, and it's harder to access even apartments in big cities. Like, these things are definitely gotten more challenging for sure. Where you lose me is this. Back in the boomer day, everybody could buy a house when they were 25, and one dad could work at the car factory, and he had 6 kids, and all of them had new Teslas and PS1s, and it's like, bro, things were never that crazy. Okay, that's not true. Okay, there was
this thought that America is doing really well. We can allow a little bit of this leakage because of the quote unquote greater good. The greater good being, let's get these countries out of poverty. Let's get them, embracing capitalism, democracy. I think it's a combination of benevolence as well as there was some strategic rationale. Like sometimes you could make a claim that allowing these countries to profit was like a national security thing, right? Like, hey, they'll be there for us if we ever get into a spat with XYZ other countries. So there was a whole host of complex reasons, but the net result, Andrew, was that this dynamic was happening. But it had been happening for a long time.
Question. And then we can move on. Is it possible that the countries were trying to protect the things that were...
Didn't you buy your house at 19? I think it was either 19 or 20, but like, I don't know why you think that like you're going to bring out my own life as an example for how you're going to own me or get me. I financed it with an FHA loan, which was like 3% down, and I quit school. I quit college to work 60 hours a week to do it. You can still get a house like I did if you want to do that. And I bought my house in South O off of 2nd and like Center. No, further south than that. It was 42nd and L, Hillsdale in Omaha, Nebraska. That opportunity is still available to you right now, but you don't want to do that. That's dog shit. You want to go to college and you want to get your degree so you get a real job, so you can afford a better place, right? Which is fine. But yeah, if you want to do my life, you can do my life. You can go do my life right now. Quit school, flunk out of school, start working 60 hours a week somewhere, and then go FHA loan with a girlfriend, because I also did this with my girlfriend at the time, and then go buy a house together. You can do that right now in a shitty city, in a shitty part of a shitty city.
Were made there. In other words, like, we have all these cool products that are made in America. Obviously, it's very sexy in a bunch of these third world countries. They're like, listen, we can't let the mom and pop businesses or even the corporations that are thriving in this country be outcompeted, if you will, by the American businesses.
Possibly, but then, I would say, well, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. It can't be a one-way ratchet on globalism and free trade, where it's like, you're going to take our stuff, but we're not going to take your stuff.
I agree with you. I'm just trying to find the justification for the country. Like,
I think to be honest with you, it's probably driven a lot by revenue. It's like it was tolerated. Nobody pushed back.
Right.
Because again, we would say, yes, it's happening, but, and some politician.
I can understand your perspective, but it's hard when I worry about money all the time, and we are supposed to be middle class. The stress of it over years is exhausting. What are your worries about money if you say you're middle class? What does that mean to you? Talk to me about what that means to you.
Would insert this statement about democracy and capitalism and long-term national security or what have you as the justification.
And then Americans, we don't want any tariffs because it affects our businesses, right? Like, Apple doesn't want any tariffs. I'm sure Uniqlo doesn't want any tariffs. I'm sure Levi's doesn't want anything because it affects the amount of money that they can make. So they're essentially...
Nobody would want any tariff in an ideal scenario. But now you have to think about, like, what is the government of the United States' responsibility?
Totally. I'm just saying, like, why the private sector hasn't pushed back. And the reason they haven't pushed back is because they would be the ones losing money.
I think they are pretty violently pushing back. Everybody that hasn't been exempted, I think, is pushing back. So, and what they're trying to point out is like, hey, listen, like...
I have no savings. I hate middle class people. God, how old are you? I hate them. Don't talk. Never mind. Just don't. I can't. I just can't, because I'm going to lose my mind. I'm so sorry. And it's not even, it's not even fair. It's not even fair. My attitude is not even fair. Just forget it. I love all of you.
These tariffs have a real price.
No, I meant why they wouldn't push back about the unfairness that had happened over the last 25 years. Like, for example, Apple, that wasn't tariffed at all, wasn't going, hey, you know what? China's tariffing us. Maybe we should tariff them because it would hurt their bottom line.
We should do a Caleb Hammer section or segment on stream where I bring people on and we go over your finances, okay? Because I want to know. I'm curious, okay? I just want to know, all right?
How many Chinese can afford to buy a $3,000 iPhone versus how many Americans can buy a $3,000 iPhone? And the reality is that when you factor in, again, this goes back to what I said before, do not underestimate the absolute gargantuan largesse and kick-assedness of America. Like, it's easy to slag it.
Are you even paying attention to this video? Yeah, Chamath is just giving the retarded answer to everything that has been said a billion times before. I don't know why we're listening to this. What do we...
First among equals country. on every dimension, culturally, artistically, economically, militarily, in a snap of a finger.
Can you give an example of what that would be? You're talking about like the
Yeah.
screws that go into the plane? Like
No,
how
much
derivative?
more important than that. It's like, let's just say that I'll use an example that I think we could all relate to. We need to electrify as much of the United States as possible. Okay, meaning we need more electricity, not less. We barely have enough electricity for all of the needs that we have. Okay, fair. There's brownouts. There's all these.
Are there? I genuinely don't know. Are there energy issues in the United States related to brownouts that aren't related to like disasters? Like I know that California will do rolling outs, but isn't that just related to like weather issues? Or are there actual places in the U.S. that are like running out of energy? Does this happen?
There's all these. It's all nuts. Okay, we need more energy. Okay, one of the things that we need more energy for is electric cars. I'll just use that as an example. Electric cars need an electric motor. So far, so good. All of that stuff can be American. But inside the electric motor, the way that the electric motor works is that there's a magnet that spins really quickly. That magnet is made from something called rare earths. There's nobody right now that can really secure a meaningful pipeline to those rare earths except through the Chinese. They're incredibly good at it. They're incredibly sophisticated. And they have a top-down way of organizing that market. That's an example. Let's say that you need batteries, not like the simple Duracell that you buy at Target, but like the big batteries that can store energy when it's made or whatever. There are two companies that know how to do this at scale. They're both Chinese. And you can go on and on down the line in every critical market where America needs to be able to take care of itself, right? Under all weather conditions, we have become very fragile. So tariffs have this dual-pronged impact. Prong number one is it starts to realign the world order. But prong number two is that it allows us to start taking back control of a lot of these markets so that we do the hard work so that we can rely on ourselves. Otherwise, if something bad were to happen, there's like a lot of really bad outcomes here where we cannot fend for ourselves. We can't make the vaccines we need, okay? We can't make the technological equipment we need. We can't make the computers we need. We can't make the chips we need.
So, sorry, follow-up question. Of the tariffs, I actually agree in theory with everything you're saying and have for a while. How do you feel about the system? I'm seeing a lot of things about the calculations they came up with, and like it seems kind of haphazardly thrown together. Can you explain that? Is that true? What do you think?
I think the way they did it was very clever. They made one mistake, which is in language, which is they put the word.
Oh my God, he's an actual cum guzzling dick suck, dude. Why do these people? Why not like invite somebody that actually knows what they're talking about? Like you probably can reach out and just get like an actual economist, and not these crypto fashy losers who are just obsessively rebalancing their portfolios and hedging on the failure of the U.S. economy while they make money off of whatever corrupt bullshit crypto coin they sell. Or how the f does this loser make his money? Or why is this guy even on here to talk finance or economics? What does this guy do? Is he a billionaire guy, the Chamath guy? I feel like I hear his name a lot. Oh my God, it's so cringe.
Word reciprocal, and they should have put
or at least like bring on somebody else to argue with him. It's just like cringe argument after cringe argument, like beamed down from
proportional. So, you know, Akash, if I sell you $1,
yeah,
and you send to me $5, the right way to think about what a tax would be well, there's a $4 differential, so let's make it proportional to how much I'm giving you and you're giving me.
Like that's retarded. That doesn't make any sense what he just said. He's actually like trying to use logic to justify this stupid shit.
The formulas that they used were proportional formulas. It got caught up in all of this like English language semantic nonsense.
Got it. Okay.
And then people who wanted
He's a CEO of Social Capital. Okay.
to run with that, try to exploit the word and try to create confusion. But you know, the simple way to think about it is, if I'm here and you're here, the whole goal of the to just do this, make it proportional, make these things proportional. That's the math. That math does work.
They were saying in some of the, and I saw an article that was quite critical, and they said it was haphazardly done because they were just matching trade deficits.
No, so here's another thing that let's debunk that.
So that is exactly what they were doing, and even this guy with the layman's understanding is closer to the correct explanation than the unbelievable Olympic tier dick sucking this Chamath guy is doing to defend his daddy.
Well, so
yeah, you know, can you explain the trade deficit between two countries and how that works?
So how does a trade deficit work? So for example, like let's just say between the United States and China, they send us $10 of goods, we send them $1 of goods. That's a $9 deficit, right? We're bringing in more than we send out. Okay, so there's an entire economy of Chinese companies that get supported with the $10 of money that we give them. There's only $1 that benefits American companies. That's a trade imbalance. It creates a deficit. Now, by the way, it's not that a deficit is bad.
Oh, there we go. We're kind of sort of, oh, wait, it's not bad? Then why the f are we orienting the entire New World Order around trying to get rid of them?
Okay, sometimes you want a deficit, sometimes you want a surplus, but you want to be able to pick and choose where you want to be at any time with any country, right? That would make sense. That's like, hey man, I'm not going to just take this at face value. I'm going to evaluate the conditions, and I'm just going to tweak the knobs every now and then to make sure that I know where I'm at. Some countries may be so strategically important, we're like, you know what, we're going to run deficits with you. That's cool. You guys build up some stuff, but on the back end, let's talk about some other deals we could do. Give us some critical things that we need. And we're cool running a deficit. Some other countries where maybe we don't get as much from them as we have historically or should, we should run a surplus. But let me just make sure that you guys also know one other thing about these last couple days. A lot of people started to try to make a meme out of like, oh, look, this country's only got penguins. You know, that country only, you know, is in the middle of nowhere.
And now he's going to talk about dodging. He's going to talk about how you can dodge tariffs by exporting to other countries.